Good morning, everyone. I'm Riganka ma'am, and today we're going to talk about the relationship between equality and freedom in volume 3 of the podcast on equality. Now, the concept of freedom and equality in a group are defined in terms of the individual exertions of influence or power. Freedom is deliberated in the version of freedom from influence rather than the version freedom to do what one wants to do. It is revealed that at the ideal conceptual level, complete freedom implies equality. Now, the relationship between freedom and equality is very complex, as it is sometimes something people have struggled for since the beginning of time and continue to struggle even today. These two terms are very strongly linked, though not inseparable. Equality has a simple meaning. It is resemblance or sameness in quality, power, status, degree. In simpler terms, it is being exact same as others. Freedom, on the other hand, is the condition of being able to act and think however you want without being controlled or limited. The relationship between these two first begins by obtaining freedom. Without freedom, one does not have the ability to be equal to others, as he cannot do what he wants. Tocqueville, a philosopher, said that men cannot become absolutely equal unless they are entirely free. One who is not free has a master who will make his choice. The only way to rid himself of the master and gain political freedom is to successfully revolt against the state. With this uprising, all people now have the ability to act however they want, and because of this, they are considered equal. Once they are free from the human masters, they are able to lead a life directed by their own will and compete on a level playing field with the rest of society. Now, freedom and equality exist in a state of tension. Now, what does this mean? But they're also mutually dependent on each other, as without freedom, equality is meaningless, and without equality, there will be no real freedom. So hence, equality is a prerequisite for freedom and makes freedom possible. The establishment of absolute equality also leads to the loss of equality. So the development of freedom and equality actually begins with the Declaration of Independence, which set the precedent that all men are created equal. Up until this point, equality was something that could not be attained. It was almost a foreign, alien idea. Although only white men in America were considered free after this great document was signed, the Declaration of Independence paved the way for many new forms of equality, most important, gender and racial equality. This brings us to the concept of affirmative action. Now, what is an affirmative action? Now, affirmative action is a strategy to errand members of a disadvantaged group who currently suffer or historically have suffered from discrimination within a culture. Now, often these people are deprived for a historical reason, such as oppression or bondage, something like the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe in India. In simple terms, affirmative action is anticipated to promote the opportunities of defined minority groups within a society, to give them what? Equal access to that of the majority population. In India, reservation is a form of affirmative action designed to improve the well-being of backward and the underrepresented communities defined primarily by their caste. Now, affirmative action also denotes to the policies and laws that attempt to redress a situation of discrimination and promote equal opportunity. It is related to the concept of positive discrimination, which means to compensate or counter the effects of prejudice in terms of race, gender, or disabilities. The nature of policy and terminology varies from country to country. The norm of affirmative action is primarily to encourage societal equality through a preferential treatment of socially and economically deprived people. Now, there are different kinds of affirmative action. Some are direct, like provisions demanding certain quantitative or qualitative targets to be achieved through admissions to schools, employment, political appointments. These can be termed as reservation. Affirmative action could also be indirect, consisting of programs which support certain categories to support their performance or improve their access. Something like creating girls' hostels for universities and colleges outside the villages. Now, while many researchers argue that affirmative measures have or should have a shorter lifespan, but some affirmative actions have gone on for such long durations that they have lived their life through. Proponents argue that affirmative action measures should continue until the goal of the target audience is reached, or until it is proven that they have negative outcomes for their groups. So this is what affirmative action is all about. We will talk about affirmative action in the Indian scenario in Volume 4. Thank you.